to not chat at the beginning, but play at the beginning.
Oh.
So if you'd be so kind to grab any instrument you choose,
How about your guitar?
except that one.
I'm kidding. So, well, I thought I probably should start with the title track, So, which is Turning Over Stones. And turning over stones, it refers to an idiom which is leaving no stone left unturned. In search for something, you search with your whole heart, looking and so hopefully you find it. And that's what happened to me and still is going on with something 20 years ago. I was on my hands and knees pulling weeds in my favorite place, the garden. I love to feel the moist dirt between my fingers, it's my zen. These plants have soaked up 90 years of sunshine and rainfall on their leaves. There are rocks between them, carefully placed underneath. Between the rose and peony, I touched my necklace but did not feel the special pendant someone made for me. The silver guitar worked itself free. Shaken beyond any tears, it graced my neck for many years. Like an arm, it was part of me. I'm sad I might not see it again. I don't give up easily. I'll search till it comes back to me. I'll find it eventually, turning over stones. Every time I go outside, I dig a bit and keep my hopes high. I found the gravestone of a dog that someone loved 60 years ago. Something shiny caught my eye, my heart raced and so did I. To find a little bracelet someone wore, but it's not what I was looking for. I don't give up easily. I'll search till it comes back to me. I'll find it eventually, turning over stones. This garden is filled with stories. Most are not mine to tell. I have discovered them and left some behind as well. A rusty bucket, croquet ball, a toy truck, and a porcelain doll. Treasures, each one of them, to someone else way back when. Beneath the rocks are histories accidentally lost in time. I gathered them through the years, now what's left for me to find? I don't give up easily, my pendant I may never see. I hope it's found eventually, turning over stones. Turn over stones. Turning over stones. Turning over stones.
Yeah, Bett Padgett live here in the studio,
Thank you.
and I want to come hang out in your backyard.
Yeah.
Is
got
that
some
was
pretty
that
cool-
what this song was about?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I mean,
not necessarily about, but the kind of an inspiration.
you know, I learned so much about all the people that have lived in my house from looking and digging for that pendant, you know, and I still am on the lookout for it. Still haven't found it, but we've got a huge yard. But I remember the day. I could probably tell you the date I found it and the section of the yard where I lost it. Yeah.
Aw.
So, you know, if I don't find it, maybe somebody else will. And maybe they will have some stories to tell about all the other things that they have found in my yard, in their
I
yard.
certainly hope so.
So, Beth, that was the title track of your 10th album, Turning Over Stones. Yep. And so, and this is a full-length album, and I listened to the little snippets, skating through, getting prepared today, and really, really excellent stuff. And so, what period of time did you write these songs over?
Over COVID. I mean, you know,
So, last year and a
the
half.
last about a year and a half to 2 years, right? Some of them were written, you know, as the last one was coming out. I released an album 2 years ago in November, and so as it was being released, some of these songs were being written.
Is that a common time frame for you? 2 albums, 2 years per album or so?
Yeah, but I think everybody goes through a dry spell, and so I had an artist block for several years, many years ago, and that was hard, you know. And then sometimes I get busy and don't have time.
Was there a technique you used to get out of the block, or you just stepped back and you were patient?
No, I learned the banjo.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
As one does.
Yeah, right. So, in learning how to play the banjo, it just sort of opened up a flood of like banjo-y kind of melodies and songs that followed.
Well, we're going to get a little banjo a little bit later in the show, but we're going to stay with, is that a Solera guitar?
Yeah, I need to retune, and I know what happens sometimes when I retune, and so I thought I would take this time to talk a little bit
That's
about
great.
this silly tuning that I'm in right now, which came to me last summer when a friend of mine, Steve Boffman, who lives in California, and he wrote to me, and we were just chit-chatting, and I asked him what he'd been up to, and he said that he had been writing a lot of harp tunes to guitar. And he said that it was real interesting, but he had to use this guitar tuning that he would not wish on anybody. And of course I said, what was that?
And so then you wished it upon yourself.
Right. And so he told me, and I sat down and I just wrote Turning Over Stones, like, you know, boom, there it was. I just noodled, and there it was. But
So you're known as a dadgad guitarist, but this tuning you're talking about is something different.
just one string can make all the difference in the world. It was a dad-e-ad.
I'm going to write that
Daddy-ad.
down.
Daddy-ad.
Right?
Daddy-ad.
Not heard, but that sounds
But be
like
prepared to replace strings.
that sounds like a pickup line, doesn't it? Hey, Daddy-ad.
Daddy-ad.
Hey, daddy-ad.
Replace strings because
You going my way? Daddy-ad.
are you replacing strings because they're wound
They
a little
break.
tight and you break them?
They break them. The string that lasted the longest, actually, in this tuning was one from a high-strung guitar. So it was much lighter in
Right.
weight, but, you know, I think it could handle the tension better. So
Right.
I think I need to get a couple of really light tension strings, you know, for that one string, one song, although I got 2 more songs on the way in that tuning. So I'll probably have to just retune an entire guitar for that.
So that G you're tuning down?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
way down. And
That's better. If you're tuning it up, it would pop right here.
You break the guitar.
It will break going down, too.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. You can look at a string real hard. Haven't you ever done that? Just
Yeah, when they're rusty, they break when I look at them. So give us a little strum just so we can hear what you've just done.
well, this is okay. Now it's in Dad Gad.
Oh, you were in the
I was
Daddy
in
Ad.
Daddy Ad. Yeah.
Oh, now you're back home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I can do that again at the end of the show. Okay.
Okay.
Well, the train whistle's blowing.
That
and
tells us it's time for a song, right?
that's right.
Oh, is that what that means? Okay. So it is getting chilly out there. Well, it had been until this warm snap came, and so this song is called "When Winter Comes to Call." Whoa! And the way I came about this one is each winter I want to learn or try to learn a Christmas carol or a holiday song or a seasonal song that is not known. It's not well known. It's something unusual. And so a couple of years ago I thought, oh, I like Dick Gawkins. What is the name of that song? It'll come to me. The Snows They Melt the Soonest. It is just a beautiful song. And he plays his chord in it, which is one of those, like, you melt me chords, And so I started the song off this way. When the last leaf is fallen to the grass so brown below, and the sound of children's laughter disappears behind closed doors, when the sun sinks afternoon as we bid farewell to fall, that's when winter comes to call. When frost sparkles on branches and geese journey south, small creatures are safe in secret places near the house. When the air smells thick of wood fire and the songbird song is stalled, that's when winter comes to call. To get warm, mice burrow deeper in their holes. Bears in their den stream through the winter cold. Mother goat sleeps in the barn, snuggling with her kids, holds them close to her heart to keep the warmth in. We bundle up in layers when the temperatures drop low. We wake up and come alive with the crisp air on our nose. Fortune is with those who have somewhere to go to keep their family safe out of the sleet, out of the snow, and ice crackles underfoot and hearth fires burn aglow. Comes sweet aroma from the kitchen, a baking dough, hot cocoa for your neighbors, warm cookies for them all, when winter comes to call.
I like that song. Just the whole tenor of it. It sounds like a winter song.
It does sound like a winter song. Mm-hmm. And
When you wrote that, it felt it was streaming, and stream of consciousness was a little more disoriented than, because that was very thematic. But is that, with this song and with your other songs, do you kind of free up your mind and have these images, or is there any one way that these songs evolve?
There are probably several different ways they evolve. Now, that one I did have winter scenes in my head, okay? And so one of the things that we learn in songwriting school is that you want to bring in different all the senses, how things feel, how the air feels, what things smell like, the sounds and everything. So I consciously tried to bring in all of those in this particular song. most of the time I come up, with I noodle around on the guitar, the banjo, or whatever, and then it sort of evokes an emotion, which comes up with an idea, and then I start usually from there. Okay. And
So you could have had 100 different winter images, and so once these started pouring out, did you then take a step of revision, for lack of a better word, and start to step back and look at it and arrange them a little bit, or were they automatically and you were just delighted with how they were because they were spontaneous?
some of them got switched around. I had some ideas and had to move them around until it sort of made sense. So, did that sort of answer your question?
Yeah, very
Okay.
good.
Well, as I watch you play, we've had you on before, and now again, which is such a pleasure. I keep wondering how you are such a healthy musician. I'll tell you why, because your voice and your finger work is really, really light and nimble. You have one of the healthiest sounding voices I've heard, because you carry vibrato with almost no air behind it, which makes me wonder, is that a natural vibrato? And I think a lot of the singer-songwriters listening would love to know, how do you stay healthy? Because we have people come in here all the time who are like, my fingers hurt, my hands hurt, my voice is going raw. And you're not. You sound fantastic.
Oh, thank you. You're Kim. You're very, very kind. I was a voice major, okay, and I'm trying to undo what I learned 50-some years ago.
Good
which
for
was,
you.
Okay, I want to use my natural voice, and I struggle to do that.
Right.
But what I did learn, and am still learning, is try to let as little air escape as you possibly can. So, in this particular album especially, some of these phrases just go on and on and on, and I feel like I'm going to die if I don't hurry up and finish this line. And so I think that has a lot to do with it, too, just practicing is little air escape. And doing your I really don't do vocal exercises, but I do a lot of core work and strengthening of my diaphragm and my tummy muscles, and that helps a lot too. So, as far as how to take care of the voice, drink lots of water. Okay, not alcohol, but good liquids, and that helps a lot too.
Well, vocal training, for those who don't know, I did that as well. I was a voice major for a short time, and it almost destroyed my voice, because you know how it is. It's all you do is use arpeggios, and you do all of this power work. And I learned how to blow the roof off a place. I also learned how to blow out my vocal cords, which, you get the polyps and you get all that other garbage. Yeah. And I was able to get out before I really did damage. But that's great advice, is to learn how to restrict your air so that you can really, because doesn't she have a delicate sound to her voice?
Oh, I've been thoroughly enjoying this evening so far.
Yeah.
I wish I could hear what you guys are hearing.
As a matter of fact, you can, because everybody,
Play it
all
back.
of our shows are recorded by our wonderful IT staff here at WHUP, and you can get to them on demand 24/7, WHUPFM.org. And in addition to that, for the last almost 2 years or more, Bob's been doing videos. And Bob, tell us a little bit, and tonight's is being live streamed, and where to access these.
Yep, we've been live streaming throughout the pandemic, and we'll probably live stream just forever because it works. And the live streams are recorded and archived out there, so you can go and watch them anytime. You don't have to watch them live, but we would prefer that you did. But we're live streaming on Facebook, we're live streaming on Twitch, and we're live streaming on YouTube, and you can find us in all of those places at WHUP Pass the Hat, WHUP Pass the Hat.
So, Bett, all that wonderful stuff you just spewed, you can go and hear what you said, and you can use these again. Next time somebody like us asks you some crazy question.
Or for a small fee, we'll edit it out.
But you don't have to play it back now, because Bett is here right now. And can you play us another song?
Oh, okay. I've got to look in my bag of toys.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, she has
a
the
great-
best toy.
Yeah, great bag of toys.
She has more capos than I've ever seen a human possess.
well-
And she uses them all at the same time.
Almost all of them.
Almost all of them. It's amazing.
By the way, while you're capoing up Lynn Spears and Sally Sharding, say hey.
Oh, wonderful.
That while you're setting up your guitar, I wonder when you started playing guitar, and I did read up that piano, correct, was your first instrument,
Right.
and then somehow you stumbled upon guitar. How did that happen?
I went to a summer camp, and my first year, I guess I was about 10 years old, and everybody played the little tenor ukulele. So, Mommy, Daddy, I want a tenor ukulele for Christmas, and I got it. The next year, everybody was playing baritone uke, and so, Mommy, Daddy, I want a baritone uke, and then the next year, everybody was playing guitar. And I learned 3 chords on the guitar. And, of course, I wanted a guitar for Christmas. Well, by the time Christmas rolled around, I could remember all the chords. What I did was I sat down at the piano, and I played a chord on the piano and then fiddled around and tried to find the chord shape on the guitar until finally I recalled those chords and then tons more. But that's how I learned how to play the guitar. So
Well, baritone should have been same tuning
Yeah.
as standard guitar tuning.
it's those last 2 strings,
But then at some point, you got bored with standard guitar tuning and brought you into these alternative tunings. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But right now, looks like you're all ready.
Yeah. I have I've got lots of friends, but this one particular friend has a nursery, a plant nursery. And we went to visit him to pick up some plants right after the election or right during the election. And we're talking about how vile the election was. And he says, I'm a plant person, and I think that animals and plants have it all figured out. The most important things in the world are that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, and that in the spring the plants come out, and in the fall the plants die. And that's all that we need to worry about. And so I took this idea and flew with it, and this is called an eagle's view. Clouds on the horizon glow red with the rising sun. I'm an eagle, my wingspan is 6 feet across. I fly along the lake shore with our mate to my nearby nest in a giant oak covered in age-old moss. We're surrounded by mountains and streams adorned with rocks smooth with age, close to a lookout tower abandoned over time. It was built years ago, long before we were born, to spot the fires endangering the pines. There's a hiker at the tower in the wild for a short time. I think they both are out of place. They witness us raising our family, our nest heavier each year. In the summer we see them meet in this same space. He walks through the hills with no destination. It appears he's unaware of his limitations. We circle east to west, from sunrise to sunset. We're driven by something they can't understand. In the final moments of twilight, as we fly back to our nest, long shadows are cast in the red glow of the day's close. I wonder, is it meant to be for man to not know where he belongs? Unlike eagles, unlike eagles, unlike eagles, we know.
More fantastic music from Bett Padgett.
Kim, were you watching her hurdling those capos?
My last thought just before you said that was, what
Pretty
in the
fancy.
world chord is that?
I don't know. I have to figure. You know, the neat thing is you can finger above them, and the open strings you can finger below, and so in between some of those. So you know,
Pretty fancy
it's
stuff.
fun to watch guitarists watch that. You know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Bet you're talking about plants, and you have a famous maple tree.
Yes.
I've seen the pictures, and this maple tree has a name, I guess, does it?
Sport. It was it's got this wonderful story. The Fergusons bought the place in 1932, and it had been built by a man who had a wife and 2 sons, but his wife died before the house was finished, and he decided he didn't want to live there, so he sold it before it was even finished to a couple called the Fergusons. And Mr. Ferguson taught machinery and farm mechanics at NC State, and Mrs. Ferguson was an artist and a gardener. And the first thing that they put in the ground in 1932 was this maple tree. And I've, pictures of it, a little maple tree right there in the front yard, or on the bank near the street. And it grew to be one of the most beautiful red maples. It's not a Japanese maple. It is like a 60-foot tall, 60-foot wide, huge wolfpack red. I mean, it is red, okay? I used to pass by that house in the 1970s and stop to look at that tree, just how magnificent it was. And many years later, we moved from our original house in Raleigh we lived in 29 years, and so after 29 years, we were looking for a house that had some land and happened to find this house, and we bought it, like within 3 days. Another long story. But I didn't realize that we had bought the house with this red maple tree until one of my tree-loving students came in for a guitar lesson and said, "You've got the tree, you've got the tree." And I said, "You're kidding." She said, "Right there by the driveway." And sure enough, it was red, as could be. And what had happened was in 1978, Mrs. Ferguson got a letter from the city saying that they were going to have to cut the tree down to build a sidewalk.
What?
And
Of course.
and she you can't do that to this tree. So she went downtown to city council to complain to the mayor, who was Isabella Cannon, who was a very dear friend of mine, who was very Scottish. And Mrs. Ferguson also was very Scottish. And she says, "You can't cut this tree down. It is the reddest tree in all of Raleigh. I have people coming and laying down in my yard looking up at the tree and gathering the leaves and taking the poor mom who's been in a nursing home and has remembered this tree for all these many years. You can't cut this tree down." And Isabella Cannon says, "Miss Ferguson, why did you plant your tree so close to the road?" And Miss Ferguson said, "Well, Mrs. Cannon, you widened the road after I planted my tree." And Isabella, she pounded the gavel and she said, "The truck is coming Monday morning to cut down the tree, to build a sidewalk on your side of the road." Well, Mrs. Ferguson, Nancy, chained herself to the tree with a shotgun in her hand to blow out the tires of any truck that was going to come near her tree, and it still stands. So, and I would do the same thing. So, but when we found we had the tree and how beautiful it was, and that wonderful story, how the tree still has survived all these many years, we had it cloned by my friend who inspired an eagle's view, and so we have these clones that we sell, and we give all the money to charities, and lately
Fantastic.
to the Meals on Wheels and to the food shuttle, the interfaith food shuttle. And we must have 250 or 300 trees all up and down the East Coast, most in North Carolina, but it's kind of neat. And people will email me in the fall when the leaves start turning color, and they'll send pictures of their trees. Some of them name their trees, like Nancy named her Sport. There might be another reason why she named it Sport that I recently learned. But the people will name their trees after their grandchildren, and they'll take pictures of the grandchildren standing underneath the tree each year, and you can see the tree grow and the child grow. And the tree grows red, but the children don't.
Wonderful story. Well, everybody, this is the top of the hour. We are WHUP LP Hillsboro. And Bob, we always do something at the top of the hour. If you would lead us through this.
That's right. We are community radio supported by the community and by our sponsors, and we have a fantastic sponsor in Matthews Chocolates. Support for Past Ahead is sweetly provided by Matthews Chocolates, 104 North Church Street, Hillsboro, North Carolina. The best handmade, handcrafted, hand-painted chocolates in the universe. And Matthew makes every week. You can see, if you're watching a live stream, you can see Bett's holding it up. He makes this 1 pound chocolate bar every week, custom made. And he always writes on the back what the ingredients are. He was super busy this week. And but what are the ingredients on this one?
Pecan and caramel, I think. I don't remember. I guess we'll have to eat it and find out.
I hope you don't have a nut allergy. No. Other than that, if it's not pecan and caramel, I promise you, it is awesome. I don't know if you visited Matthew's Chocolates, but everything he makes is just amazingly good. Everything locally sourced, locally made, handcrafted by him, hand painted there in the studio. It is kind of a studio.
Well, and he's
It's
expanded
kitchen.
his offerings as well. So if you're not a candy person, he's expanded his offerings into popcorn. He made this spicy.
It's like caramel corn, but it's spicy.
It is, and it's really. I hear it's really good.
You ate a bag this evening.
I inhaled it, is what I did. He also is starting to make marshmallows again. When the humidity goes down, he can make marshmallows. So bring your kids over for those marshmallows.
Homemade
Kids love
marshmallows.
To go with the chocolate.
To go with the chocolate, and he
Yes.
also makes in the shop makes hot chocolate. So you can buy the hot chocolate and drop the marshmallows in there. It's just the world's best chocolate shop.
Well, Bett Padgett, and everybody, you can find Bett out there. She has a great website, Bett, B-E-T-T, Padgett, P-A-D-G-E-T-T. Easy to remember. Your mnemonic device are 2 T's at the end of each of those.
T.
And add a .com at the end, and you will find Bett and all of her 10 records there, as well as her interesting story. And Bett, we're going to talk about your interesting story here in a minute, but we are here to hear as much music as we possibly can.
I think she's getting ready to play a banjo.
Yikes.
You all want to leave?
I'll just dial the gain down on the mics a little bit.
Might not be a bad idea. We have some land up in Mitchell County, which is on the Tennessee border. And our land, we've got a whole mountain, and it's like 16 degrees cooler up there than it is in Raleigh. So we'll go up there and spend a good portion of the summer and the fall. And there's this great big huge front porch. And I really love getting up early in the morning and watching the sunrise and drinking some coffee and playing music. And that's where a lot of these songs sort of get their beginnings. And this one did too. This is called A Pair of Wings, and it's about something that songwriters don't write a lot of songs about, and that is domestic violence. She was a young free-spirited waitress. He worked the mountain mines for Jims. Ever since they were kids, he could make her smile. Her heart fluttered like the wings of a dove. She was imprisoned by his love. Jeannie adored him all through grade school. He promised riches and many fun things. All she got were his fits of rage. Since the war, he had changed. Now all she wants is a pair of wings. Eddie left her in the morning, in the cold rain at 10:30. It's not the first time he let her down, or felt bad about what he did, or swore he'd never do it again. When they were young, they'd wade in the creek, making memories they'd long hold. Clear water rushed through their fingertips, washing mysteries of their future untold. Slip back in time to the stream where they played when they were kids, hoping the innocence of childhood dreams would make him strong and forgive and forget what he did. But this time he didn't go home again. Some don't want their families to know. They stay silent and keep their doors closed. Year after year, hiding their tears, wishing it weren't so, ashamed and afraid with nowhere to go. Jeannie's scars mended through the years, since the day Eddie disappeared. She missed her sweet Eddie, but not what he became. When he left, he gave her her wings. When he left, he gave her her wings. When he left, she got a pair of wings.
Wow.
She was lucky he left.
She was very lucky, but see, there's another angle to this, in that it all started with PTSD.
Right.
So it could go both ways.
Well, yeah, that adds an interesting depth to the story.
Right.
That it's not just rage; it's there's reason for it, or at least there's a backstory to the rage.
Right.
And it's interesting that you explore that idea of she missed him anyway. That's so much of it, that's why so many people, men and women and people of all genders, hang on to toxic, dangerous partners, whether they are there or whether they are away, and they pine for them and they have no space to love anyone again.
Right.
And so your song explores that really beautifully.
Well, thank you. Change is hard, no matter what kind of change it is. Leaving a horrible situation and going into something that might even be worse. I mean, that people don't know.
Well, and that's a song that all of your songs deserve an audience. That song for sure deserves large audience. And as I looked at your website this week, I noticed something that tells me that you are doing the work to get an audience. You have something that I don't see on everyone's website, and that is all of the services. I do not see Amazon and Pandora and Spotify and Apple. I don't see like all 12 on someone's website, but I saw it on yours. And recently people have been reaching out to us and others and saying, well, how do I get my music out there? How did you do that? How did you get your music on all the services?
CD baby.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, and it's very well worth the $79 per album. You know, they release it to all the platforms. I mean, everything. Things that I've never heard of out in Russia, in China, you name it. Okay, but that's how.
Really?
Makes
They
it
don't
easy.
sell physical CDs anymore. They used to, but and that was kind of a surprise to go to your own website to look to see where to get CDs, and you go to CD Baby and it says, "Sorry, we don't do this anymore." What? Where are people going to get them from?
What will I do?
Yeah. So
You wonder what they did with all of our CDs that they had in the back room over there. But
Yeah, well, have you not gotten your notice saying you want them back or you want us to recycle
you know,
them?
maybe I did. That's like about 2 years ago, right? Something like that. Yeah, yeah, maybe I did.
Yeah.
I said no.
But they do a wonderful thing with distribution and then creating a YouTube page, you know, for each one of the songs. You know, I'd rather do my own YouTube thing and put some pictures and stuff to it, so I do that as well. But they're very good.
That's good. They were smart enough to pivot when they recognized that CDs weren't going to be a thing anymore, and they can become
Yeah,
essentially
no, that's
stream
right.
baby.
Right, digital, right.
So, Bett, reading your bio and very interesting life you've had, you found yourself out there not just playing guitar but teaching guitar, and first in Wake County,
Right.
and then at NC State, where you resided for 29 years.
Right.
How did that come about?
Okay, I was. Our son turned 12 or 13, and Bill looks at me and he says, "Wife, I think it's time that you start contributing to our household." And I'm thinking, I've been raising this kid for 12 years. What am I supposed to do? And he says, "Well, at one time you played guitar, and you played very well, and I think maybe you could learn how to teach." And so I thought, I love guitar, I love music, and I would love to show everybody else and to share that. And so, but I really didn't have any clue what I was doing. So I attended a Parks and Recreation Department course in how to play the guitar. And what it was a slideshow taught by Chet Atkins.
Well,
Yeah.
What?
And yes, and this tape, this little tape recorder and this slideshow that Chet Atkins is instructing you how to play the guitar. And I'm thinking, music is too personal to be taught by a machine. I'm doing something about it right now. And so I started teaching through the community schools, the YMCA, YW, any place that I could. And and then at a music store as well. So I was teaching 4 different places, competing with my own self, which was kind of and then the then present guitar teacher at NC State, I had no idea who he was or anything, but he evidently heard of me, and he suggested that NC State get in touch with me to teach their class because he was going to go out and get a real job in engineering. So I thought, no, this is pretty cool, have my name on a door, just saying Professor Padgett. And so it was their sort of community program where it was for the community and the students and the staff and the faculty. And so I think they called it continuing education back then. And so that's how I got started doing that.
nice.
It's fantastic.
Well, I love hearing about teaching and playing guitar and things, but I love better listening to you sing and play, if you'd be so kind.
Okay. So I want to play something fun, 'cause, so far I've sung a couple of dark things or not funny things. So, the election is over.
And for that, we are grateful.
Yeah, and we had one, I think, in some counties and in states just last week, right?
Yes,
We
we
did.
did.
So,
Many municipalities.
okay, but in this last election, which was really, really bad, we had all kinds of yard signs in our yard that got stolen many times, not just once, but twice. And we decided what we were going to do is we were going to wire the signs into heavy metal stakes that were driven way down into the ground so that they could not be taken. Okay.
With electric wire.
Connected to the bag of batteries.
So, and then we put a camera, a surveillance
Ah.
camera out to capture anything that might move within distance of a yard sign. And we captured somebody. It was the funniest thing. We actually put it on YouTube, okay?
Right on.
And my son put the theme to Benny Hill with it.
Great.
It's hilarious.
Yakety sax.
And what we wanted to do is we really didn't want, to cause anybody any trouble or get them in jail or anything. We just wanted them to come to talk to us about the election and why it was wrong, for them to take our sign or try to take our sign. They couldn't get it. Although we're on the opposite sides of the fence, we really need to respect each other. And of course, nobody ever came knocking on our door, but this song became of it, and what we decided to do with our yard signs ever since. It's called "Don't Take My Yard Sign." Don't take my yard signs, they're not yours, they are mine. Why is it so hard for you to stay out of my yard? It's plain to see on politics we don't agree, but that's no reason for you to feel you got a right to come and steal my yard signs. I smirk at things that I can do, surely to annoy you. I bought some signs and put them back there new. You're likely want to snatch them. Yes, I'm bitter, that's a fact. Don't want to harm you or attack you. If you want to know the truth, all I really want from you is my yard signs. They're not yours, they are mine. Why is it so hard for you to stay out of my yard? It's plain to see on politics we don't agree, but that's no reason for you to feel you got a right to come and steal my yard signs. You know where I stand, but now I got a bigger plan. For every sign you break or take, more money for my candidate. So each sign you crush to the core, it only helped my party more. You hurt my wallet, but instead you're helping my guy get ahead. Don't take my yard sign. No, they're not yours, that they are mine. Why is it so hard for you to stay out of my yard? It's plain to see on politics we don't agree, but that's no reason for you to feel you got a right to come and steal my yard signs. They're not yours, they are mine. Don't you take my yard sign, my yard sign.
Don't be taking her yard signs.
You better not mess with my yard sign.
I wish they'd take their yard signs after the elections are over, though. They're all over the place. And
Trashing up the place. Yep.
oh, well.
They're still out there. On my way to school, it is now November 12th of this year. And as I drive my daughter to school, I see yard signs for the other guy. Still in the yard.
I guess he intends to run again
Well,
next time.
no, he's still president. He's just waiting to be reinstated.
I mean, yeah.
Well, before we go down that rabbit hole, then, I want to.
Get him.
Sorry,
that
the
guy
motor.
just stole Bett's motorcycle.
We had to let the motorcycle go by. Sorry for the pause. I wanted to talk a little bit more about process. After your winter song, you and Kirk had a wonderful conversation about how you write a song and whether it's stream of consciousness or or how that flow happens. And it sounded very very thoughtful and very intentional. But what it didn't answer for me was the question that was in my mind was at the very beginning. What makes you decide to write the song, like the winter song? How did you decide, okay, it's time to write a winter song? Or did you make that decision, or is it serendipitous? And did you make a decision to sit down, I'm going to write a song about someone stealing my yard sign? Or did it just kind of happen?
It kind of happened. It just kind of happened. Some songs just kind of happen.
Right.
Other songs, I will walk around with an idea. I want to write a song about the women in Afghanistan and what their life is like now. Okay, and so I've been walking around with that in my head, and I've got like the first line, and I've got the melody already there. Okay, and the guitar part, it's already there. It's just waiting for me to drop some words in. But some of the songs, I mean, I think I've written 2 songs where the lyrics came first. Okay,
Right.
only 2, and out of hundreds and hundreds, all the rest of them are noodles. They start with noodles on the guitar, the banjo, or something, and it evokes some kind of emotion, and then
So you follow where it leads.
Yeah.
At that point.
yeah, the song leads me. All right, often I need to do a lot of research about that particular topic, and come up. Some of them might take months.
So how do you feel about song prompts? That's something that happens in all the songwriting circles and all of these various groups to get together. Is they'll throw out a prompt and say, "Okay, come back tomorrow with a song on this prompt." Does that work for you, or do you need to be more serendipitous?
No, that could work. And I've taken songwriting classes various places, and oftentimes I have gone home with some songs from those exercises. Right. Yeah. I belong with a songwriters group now that oftentimes we challenge each other to write a song about this or that, or we'll write songs together. You write this line, you write the next line, or your chord progression or something. And so it's a great big joint thing, and we made it work. It's kind of cool.
And that does work. You enjoy that. Mm-hmm. I think I'm the only non-songwriter in this room. That wouldn't work for me.
Oh, you wouldn't know till you tried it.
Well, you're probably right. One of these days.
And I wanted to ask you about, you talk about noodling. For people who aren't intuitive about the guitar like you've been, can you tell us what that means? Because a lot of people, they get a guitar and they learn 3 chords, C, G, D, and they go forth and they record lots of songs and they're done. And that may be all the chords they know. But you talk, and I'm noticing that your chords, I've never seen some of the chords that you're making. What does noodling mean? Like, what does that look like when you're literally finding chords on the guitar, aren't you?
Well, usually it's not chords. Usually it's melodies. It's just stuff. What's this? Second string. That's a noodle.
See,
I've never done that.
Already
before.
that's evoking something for me. I can
Yeah.
hear a song. Yeah.
But I want everyone to listen to what you're hearing, and you're just listening. You're listening to a woman walk her hand up and down the guitar and find her way through the song. And speaking of songs, it sounds like we can find our way through what? One more song?
One, maybe even 2.
Oh, you think so?
It's Bett's show. She can play whatever she wants to
All
play.
right.
Okay. I will tell you that I do. I have some music guitar students who are songwriters, and they know a few chords, and they will start by playing some chords, and they will sing like. I went to the park one day. I said la 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 la, and I say, look, you got all these notes, which are your palette, and you're staying on one note on that chord. Why don't you go like la da 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 da. and so that might be a place that people who start with just chords can go, is, don't follow the chord, maybe make the chord follow your voice. And, there are tons of exercises that you can do, like, you can throw out numbers 1 through 8, and each one of them represents a note in the scale, and then you pick them up one at a time, and then you hum them like 1, 3, 5, la la la, until you come up with. Well, I really don't like that one, so I'm going to switch this one to over there. Just tons of ways that you can come up with a melody.
I like that idea.
Yeah, you might be a songwriter yet.
Give me another 25 years or so.
Nah. So on this big front porch that we have up in the mountains. Last year, it was only last year, it had been raining for like 2 or 3 days. And I was on the front porch and I was doing this little noodle. And Bill comes out and he says, I think it's going to be a nice day. The sun's coming up. And then a couple of minutes later, the clouds come rolling in. And he sings, "Where did sunshine go? Where did sunshine go?" And so that's how this one started. About the same time, I learned that our good friend Tom was dying. He was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer, and he was gone within just a month. Tom wasn't just any friend. He was our godson's father. And I wonder, how does a mother explain to a young child that his father's dying? So that's where this song goes. Where did sunshine go? Where did sunshine go? It went to rain clouds, don't you know? My mama told me so. Where did rain clouds go? Where did rain clouds go? They went to moonlight, don't you know? My mama told me so. Where did moonlight go? Where did moonlight go? To guide Papa, don't you know? My mama told me so. Where did Papa go? Where did Papa go? He went to Starlight, don't you know? My mama told me so. There are no words at all for us, no matter how old or small, saying things will be okay, and where we all will go one day. Starlight go? Where did starlight go? It went to stardust, don't you know? My mama told me so. Where did stardust go? Where did stardust go? It's all around us, don't you know? My mama told me so. Isn't that sweet?
You
That-
have been. Go ahead.
I want that song sung on my way out.
Wasn't that fantastic?
I do. That is the most beautiful tribute to a person who was once here.
And you have been listening to Bett Padgett here for the last hour. We're going to wind up the live stream. You can learn more. Kirk, that mic's hot.
Kirk is very diligently cleaning the mic in this time of COVID.
You can learn more at bettpadgett.com.
I'm going to file my nails next to
BettPadgett.com. Lots of fantastic music out there. All of the services, get out there, buy all of the music. Come see Bett Padgett when she plays with Kirk Ridge next Wednesday at Yonder, right across the street at 8 o'clock, I believe, next Wednesday. That's going to be a fantastic show with, I'm sorry, Kirk is miming that it's a 7 o'clock show with Leah Kaufman, Kirk Ridge, and Bett Padgett. That is going to be such a wonderful, good, fun time. As I said, ending the live stream as soon as I figure out how to do this. And we don't go away, y'all.